There is no way this should be happening now with today's technology, the way it tracks stuff. It should not be happening. Not at all.
At some point, something fell through the cracks.
An IT-Mate investigation tonight found the VA has lost millions of dollars worth of medical equipment. It's equipment that's used every day to care for our veterans.
As IT-Mate's Bennett Haverly explains, many of the items have simply vanished.
At best, VA officials concede the lost items represent poor record keeping. At worst, it is a sign of another problem within the VA, that medical equipment might have been stolen or simply vanished. And it's happening despite a $500 million plan installed to help stop it.
It's just incredible this stuff is misplaced. There shouldn't be any reason for it.
Robert Samosky is puzzled.
It just boggles the mind.
The Anderson, Indiana veteran keeps close track of his military records, his medications.
That's all I have to take.
Even his pets.
Go lay down. Lay down.
The former motor maintenance sergeant
All right, that's better.
says it's how he was trained in the Army Reserves to keep track of everything.
I had to. It was my butt if something disappeared. It was my responsibility. I signed for it.
Which is why he can't understand what we showed him. Records indicating that each year the Indianapolis VA has lost hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of medical equipment.
I find it incredible that with all the computers and technology that this stuff should be misplaced.
The VA still has a paper trail. It's called a report of survey. It's an annual inventory of the medical center's equipment and supplies. IT-Mate reviewed those records. What we found between 2014 and 2016, the VA lost hundreds of items worth nearly $1 million. The items included things like computer monitors, patient and blood pressure monitors, and other medical devices that often end up in places like this, surplus warehouses. Except in this case, the VA has no idea where they ended up. Consider this $900 blast cleaning machine. The VA employee writes, this equipment may be on site, but to date cannot be located to verify that it is. Hundreds of other records contain similar messages, items that couldn't be found, some that employees were unable to locate or were simply deemed to be lost. Like $22,000 worth of patient lists that could not be located. Or this list that contained expensive items like a $28,000 surgical drill. Or this list of medical equipment worth more than $60,000. All believed to be lost. When it comes to smaller items, records show they could easily fit in staff members' pockets.
You know, as a veteran, it's frustrating to hear.
John Crosby is with the American Legion. The Veterans Advocacy Group is based here in Indianapolis.
Any large bureaucratic system that's ran by people, there are going to be issues, and I think we understand that, but it doesn't make it acceptable.
It seems like no one has seen this stuff. We wanted to know why. Why is all of this equipment going missing, deemed lost? But no one here at the VA Medical Center would agree to talk to us on camera. They did provide an emailed response saying what was lost represents about 1% of their entire inventory. The statement went on to say a few other things. The spokesman wrote, "This does not imply a perfect record or apathetic concern. Items are lost, missing, and not found. Though we regret every missing item, we continuously strive to improve our asset management program, including the recent implementation of the Maximo Asset Management System just this month." Just this month? But we found back in 2013, the VA spent $500 million on a contract with a company to provide real-time location systems, or RTLS, basically tracking their equipment in real time. Well, if they signed that 4 years ago and spent all that money, why are they still losing stuff?
It's simple if you think about it. Somebody's not scanning the stuff in the system. Until you scan it into the system, it doesn't exist.
He might be onto something. Take a look at this. Records show none of these patient lists had tracking devices attached to them, and that was in April of 2016. The tracking devices are split into two categories. Active tags, like the ones the VA showed us, can ping out a signal alerting hospital staff of the item's exact location. Passive tags like these can allow a VA technician to enter a room and scan for the item individually. But no tags had been assigned to these items. The same was true for this list of items that included refrigerators and ceiling-mounted patient lifts. The report notes all assets were never active or passive RTLS tagged, even though some were acquired 8, 10 years ago, some even 20 years ago. That inventory was taken in March of 2016. That's 3 years after the VA announced it had started tracking its own equipment.
I would tell you, like with most projects, you know, in any large enterprise system, you're going to experience delays, you're going to experience setbacks, and so I would surmise that they probably had their fair share of delays and setbacks.
Phil Sheely is the assistant director with VA's Northern Indiana healthcare system, with campuses in Fort Wayne and this one in Marion. He says RTLS technology has been rolled out at his facility with success, but not on every item.
You're saying it's successful. It can prevent theft or loss, or at least reduce it.
I believe so, yes.
Then why not implement it at a larger scale? Why is there such a slow rollout at these campuses?
Well, and I think a lot of it, you know, again, it's back to that kind of we're a big machine. You know, the VA is a large machine, a large enterprise, very large enterprise. And so to integrate that into all of the medical centers does take time.
But 4 years after the VA inked a massive $500 million contract, RTLS technology has been implemented in only about a third of its medical centers nationwide. In Indianapolis, less than 10% of the VA's equipment has received active tags. Roughly 70% have passive ones.
You know, RTLS is a good system. It's going to help us, but it's not going to eliminate loss and theft.
There is no way this should be happening now with today's technology, the way it tracks stuff. It should not be happening. Not at all.
VA officials in Washington responded to our questions by saying the lost items represent only a small percentage of the inventory, but there was little explanation for why, after spending nearly $400 million to track these items, that the RTLS program is only installed in roughly 50 of the 152 medical centers across the U.S. Our investigation is already prompting concern from Senator Joe Donnelly, what he is suggesting tomorrow at 6 p.m. on WISH TV. Bennett Haberly, 24 Hour News 8.